to talk a little bit about stats and some changes with the rental things. Let's maybe start with the rental stuff, get that out of the way. I'm not going to get into that too much. The big change is the 4 months notice. So as of July 18th, I think it is, they want you're going to have to give tenants 4 months notice to live in the place, and if if you're gonna kick them out. So that's going to change your contract to purchase and sale. The clause that we have currently on the contract to purchase and sale just says that we give the buyer will give notification to the seller. In order to give the seller will give notification to the tenant with legal notification for vacating the property. So that doesn't really have to change. But from a seller's perspective, it does. And from a buyer's perspective, it does, because we have to schedule the 4 months down the road now for our closings. And I really, James, you've been around a while. I hate those long closings. I mean, anything can go wrong with them. The market changes. Somebody wants to back out, and no, technically they got a contract, a bindable contract, but as we all know, people change their minds, and if the market starts dropping 10%, in the 4 months, a lot can change. So it could get a little wobbly there. So you really want to be careful. I would suggest from a seller's point of view is that you try and up the ante on the deposit. Try and get that deposit up a little bit. And if they're offering you 100,000, try and get 2. If they're offering you 50, try and get 100. Something that they're not going to walk away from. That would be my only concern with that. Go ahead, James.
I have a sneaky suspicion, only because I do a lot of rentals downtown that I sell. I have a feeling with the 4 month that you may find tenants actually moving out before. So I would probably tell my sellers to work with the tenant to soften or to see if they can make a better offer to have them move a bit sooner if need be. But I have a feeling tenants will move out before the 4 months.
And why would they do that, James? Tell me that. What would motivate them to do that?
Because they're not. It gives them a bit more money for sure. Absolutely. So
they're going to buy them out of their contracts.
Absolutely. So it'll be a win-win. And plus the 4 months, sure, people go, well, but a lot of tenants, they'll start, oh my God, I need to start looking. And as soon as they find something, they're going to grab it and they're going to ask to get out of the lease.
Yeah. So
I'm finding that that's happening now already, even with the 2 months. I find most of them are saying, listen, I found a place. Can I get out a month early?
Yeah, they get a 3 months rent anyway. So,
yeah.
but if they move out a month early, they still get a month's rent.
Yeah.
So that's kind of nice too. So that's a good little perk for somebody on the ball as a renter, but not all the renters are on the ball. So whatever the case might be, you guys want to pay a little more attention to these rental properties, both listing and selling on those there. Now, I just went through legal update, and they had a case where the renter moved in and the purchaser moved in or bought the place and said they wanted it vacant possession and so on and so forth, and then they end up not moving in. And the question was, who's to pay that now that the owner has sold it? They're gone. They don't own it anymore. The purchaser said they're going to live in it. So who's liable for that? That was a conundrum in the legal update. So
buyer,
I don't.
Buyer.
Sorry, Armand.
The buyer is responsible. The buyer requested the seller to give the notice to the tenant. So if anything changes from the buyers, the buyer is responsible.
Well, it creates a conundrum, but the thing is that the buyer doesn't have a tenancy agreement with the tenant at all whatsoever.
Yeah.
And how are you going to go out? How is landlord tenants going to go after somebody that doesn't even own it? Doesn't even have a. There's some legal ramifications there. I'm not saying you're right or wrong or anybody's right or wrong, but here's the deal. Here's what I'd like you guys to do. Is that if and this would be both for buying and selling. What I would add to that clause about giving legal notice, the seller giving legal notice, is that there's some kind of a commitment by the purchaser that they're going to live in it for at least 12 months, and then that clarifies what you're talking about, Armand. Then we know who's liable for that, and if we were to go to court, the buyer would be responsible. And from our point of view, we don't want to get caught up in that quagmire, of going back and forth, who's responsible. That's not something we want to deal with at all. That's not where we're at. So you might want to think, and we're going to talk about it in the office. I'm going to probably talk to Ken Pasner about adding a little line to that the purchaser requests that and I think there's a letter that goes with that. You can give them a notice that you put the clause in there, and then you give them the letter saying that, okay, we've removed subjects, go ahead and give them notice. Well, within that letter, I think we ought to put that, please give them notice as the purchaser intends to live in it for 12 months. And then that's the acknowledgement by the purchaser saying that we've talked to them about it, and they know that the rules are there, and they're going to live in it for 12 months. If they don't, that's not our problem. So we're going to come up with a little bit going on in that, but just be aware of that when you're dealing with the listings and your sales, and you got a tenant in there. Things have changed a little bit, and you're going to have to look at some of the stuff we sent out, and look at the bulletins we sent out there. And the big thing is try in some way, shape, or form get the purchaser to acknowledge that they want vacant tenancy, that they know that they have to live in there for 12 months. So at least, or the penalty, the penalty is 12 months. My God, that's a lot of money. If you're paying $4,000 a month, that's $48,000. Holy smokes, that's a big chunk of change. So that's something that a tenant will go after. I mean, that's worthwhile. We had a tenant in one of our deals that they moved out, and we have to send them their deposit back. This is on our property management side. We have to send their deposit back within 2 weeks. And so we sent it off. We wrote a check out right away. This is probably a couple of years ago now. Wrote the check out right away on the 8th or the 9th. As soon as we got notice, got everything ready. We mailed it to them. They got it. Well, we got a letter back from the tenants saying they didn't receive it by the 15th, and we owe them double now. And I said, no, we called landlord and tenants, and they said, no, you're okay. As long as you mailed it before or whatever, such and such a date, and we did. And they said they didn't receive it. Well, I think it's bullshit. I think they did receive it. As it turned out, the tenant was a articling student, just finished her law degree, had read the Landlord Tenancy Act, and came up that says they have to receive it within 2 weeks. And even the Landlord Tenancy Board said, no, as long as you mail it, you're fine. That's not true anymore. So just be careful, about things like that. Make sure you're documenting everything, writing it down. Those are nothing to do with you guys. That's property management. But just saying that tenants are reading these acts. They know, a lot of them know just as much as you do about that. And if you break the law and they see there's $48,000 on the line there, I would have my eyeball on that one. I'd be looking at Craigslist, and if I found the place going up for rent again, 3 months after I moved out, I'd be kind of choked. So anyway, moving on. We're going to go to stats, and what I'm going to do first off is I'm going to share the stats, the video, just part of the video from May. There's a new one out for June. It just came out. I've seen it in my email this morning. I'm not going to get into that, but because I've got mine all on the handout. But what I'm looking for is the trend. I'm trying to establish a trend. And as Amir said, it looks like things are a little stagnant out there. And is that true or not? Are the stats supporting that? So when you're talking to your clients, you have that information. So let's have a quick look at what I've got for this is the May printout here. Let me just find that. I'm going to share my screen. I thought I had it teed up here.
Just one more thing, Doug. Back to
Right.
the tenancy. There is one more thing. I think the notice should be through the government portal that they mentioned that everything should go through them. And I haven't seen that, but I read it.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, the landlord now has to log on to a portal to find out for all the forms to do it correctly. And within all of those forms, it has. I'm just going to open up Zoom. I'm sorry, I'm trying to do 3 things at once here. So within that portal, it has the proper forms and it has all the regulations. So that's going to help us out a lot. We don't have, and the other thing I read in that, thanks for that, or man, is the, we're not lawyers and we're not property managers for the most part. So we ought not be acting like those. Don't be telling giving your guy guidance and all that. You can direct them to the proper websites and the proper, forums, and that's all. There, it's up to them to deal with that and to kind of generally know the rules, but don't be giving them hard, cold advice on that as to what they
No,
can and can't do.
the part that relates to us is for the contract purchase and sell. So let's say we do the contract right now, the moving is gonna be in December, and we do the inspections like in July. It's a lot of things can happen until December. I don't know if we
Well,
need
the other end of that is, and
inspection.
this just happened to us, guys. This just happened yesterday, actually, or Friday, and you want to listen to this. Is that there's a dispute resolution for the tenant that they can dispute it. And what happened is that on Friday we got somebody serving the office. One of the tenants came in for one of the properties that one of our agents has to sell, and they gave them a dispute. They filed a dispute on the eviction, kind of to kind of dispute that. So that's going to throw your contract to purchase and sale, up in the air. What happens with that? So we're just kind of working through that to play it out. So, be a little careful with that. And I think that the thing is that when things happen that we don't anticipate happening, and sometimes it does happen, but if you ever, came to our meetings with Ken Pasner, there's no good surprises in real estate. And I kind of attest to that. There is no real good surprise in real estate. They're always bad. And if you've got an accepted offer and you've given them the letter that says you want vacant tenancy, and you give that, and then you remove subjects, and then the renter has 30 days after that to file a dispute resolution, then what happens to your contract? What if they can't give you vacant, tenancy or vacant or vacant, at the end of the contract? It's going to throw things into a little bit of an array. So I'll let you know next week or the week after how that one plays out and what's going on there. But these are kind of things that we're not responsible for. That we're responsible to write binding contracts. We can't figure out, or we don't know in advance whether or not there's going to be a dispute resolution from the tenant. So we can only go with what we got. But I don't know that that's the first time I've seen that one there. I don't know why that's happening. I got to look into it. So let's not go there too far. But you're right, Armand. Just be careful of what you're doing. All right, I'm going to share my screen with you guys. We're going to go into stats. Is there anything else on that rentals? We'll have more on that in the coming weeks, okay? And we'll send out more stuff as I know more. Let's do the stats here quick, and we'll kind of go from there. I'm going to share my screen here. Now I'm going to find my screen again. What happened to my screen? I had it all set up for you. Zoom.
You need an assistant though.
I know. Well, it's can you guys see my sales to active listing ratio thing? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm just going to play it a couple of minutes here, and then we'll go from there. I'm going to go to there, and we'll start.
Ratio. This ratio measures the homes available for sale against the number of homes sold throughout the month. Analysis of historical data suggests downward pressure on home prices occurs when this ratio dips below 12% for a sustained period. Home prices often experience upward pressure when it surpasses 20% over several months. May ended with this ratio at 21% for all homes. By property type, the ratio is 17% for detached homes, 25% for attached, and 23% for apartments.
Okay, I'm going to stop that there, and I'm going to share something. I'm going to stop sharing, and I go to the other stats. I'm going to share screen again, and we'll go to, where's my stats now? And given here, dead given anyways. We got that up. Oh, that might be on one of my other, sorry guys, just let me get that screen up. Okay, I'm back on. Sorry for the delay here. Can you see my news release there? Okay, sorry guys. I've got so many screens now with Zoom. I'm trying to get it all up there. So just going back to the other one, what I'm looking for is a trend here. And I think Amir, you kind of are finding it here. What's going on? Why is things slowing? Or things slowing down? Are they speeding up? What's happening to my listings here? So the Greater Vancouver Real Estate reports the residential sales in the region totaled 2418 in June, 19.1% decrease from the 2988 sales recorded in June 2023. This is 23% below the 10-year average. So what's happening now is if you go to the other highlighted part, the total number of properties currently listed for sale in the MLS is 14,182, a 42% increase compared to June 2023. And this is a total of 20% above the 10-year average. So our inventory is really going up high. It's going readily. Now, if you get into the sales to active ratio, this is why I showed you the May one. In the May one, the May one was, just to give you a recap, was 17 for detached, attached was 25, and 23 for an apartments. And the question now is, where are we at now? So if you take those same ones you've got for detached houses, 13.1, 21 for attached, and 20.3 for apartments. So Armand, is the market going up, or is it slowing or speeding up?
Slowing down.
Slowing down. And that's exactly what the point here is. It's slowing down. But don't be too alarmed here. I don't want to freak you out. But the trend is down. It's slowing down, and it's slowing down, and it's putting downward pressure on price a little bit. But the good news is, if you go back to that little video, a balanced market is between 12 and 20%. All of our different types of housing are between that. The lowest one is 13 for houses, then you got 21 and 23. The two attached in apartments are still slightly over the top in a seller's market. So you're still good. If you're doing a house, James, do you have any houses? Or are you all, what are you doing? You got two houses and an apartment or something, or a house and two apartments?
Townhome and four apartments.
Yeah, so you're still in good shape. You know, you're still in the seller's market. So you know, this is kind of motivation to get it priced well, because the trend is going down. So you really want to have a well-priced unit now to beat if this continues on the way it's going, you know, we could see some trouble in the fall. So I don't know that's going to happen, but you know, this is what we're doing. And then you can go down here deeper into the stats, and it tells you what's happening, you know, different areas, so on and so forth. You got, you know, Greater Vancouver, the residential composite, that's for everything, it's month over month changes down 0.4. North Van is 0.6, and then you got up a little bit in East Van, and up a little bit in Vancouver West. So we're still good there. Prices are still going up month over month. Detached is having a little bit of a difficult time, but they're still moving. They're still going up. So not bad there. Townhouses, here's where one of yours is, James. So you got down 0.6, but different areas are different things. Where are you? Vancouver West?
Yep.
You're about flat there. It's going flat. So next month that might be in a negative. That's what I'm saying. So that's the kind of thing you maybe want to talk to your buyer about. Let's sharpen our pencil now and get a good price on this thing. So we don't want to be, you know, chasing the market down. You know, they go at the top end of the pricing, and then, you know, the market softens a little bit, and everybody starts, you know, all the low price ones start selling, and then a month or two later you say, well, we better review this, and then you try and go down a little bit, and then you're chasing the market down. So you want to have that discussion with them at this point in time here. Your apartments, 0.4 overall, and then Vancouver East and West, down 1.1 and up 0.7. So you're still solid there. So, but you're on the edge. You're on the edge. So it's a good market. I wouldn't worry too much about it. But you want to be on top of those stats and getting them going forward. If we go into, you guys have all got a copy. I'm not going to really get into the Snapstats too much. Do you have any questions about the Snapstats and how to use them? I'm not going to belinger that one. Is there? You guys have got a copy of it. You got a copy of this. Any questions on the Snapstats?
No.
Let me just go to this one here. I'm going to go back. I'll just go over one quickly. Do we want Metro Van or Greater Van? Metro Vancouver. I'll open it up. I'll stop sharing. I'll start sharing again. And we'll just kind of go over this one quickly for you guys. You guys see Metro Vancouver? Let's take one of yours, James. Where's this one you're going to with the plumber and the painter and all these guys?
It's the west side of Vancouver. So
is it West End or West Side?
No, it's west side. So Vancouver, the west. So Heather and 26. So Cambie.
Okay, all right. Let me
be Cambie.
Condos and townhomes. Cambie right there. Okay, so Snapstats is kind of breaking things down a little bit more detailed. Condos and townhomes here are showing there was 112 inventory, 16 sales. The sales to active ratio is 14%. So that's in a balanced market, but it's trending toward a buyer's market. Now, what price range are you in?
2199.
So I'm going to go over on the left-hand side over here, and I go to 2 million to 2225. There was 35 listed, 3 sales, 9%. So that market is, according to this, is in a buyer's zone. Now you thought this one would sell pretty quick, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean it's definitely priced high. I'm hoping 2-1.
Well, this has nothing to do with your pricing. I mean, it could be the Taj. Yes. It could be beautiful and have everything.
I think it's desirable. It will go. It will go.
Okay, well, let us know on that one how that goes compared to what this is saying. So sure. This is saying you're going to be. It's a buyer's market. It would probably suggest to me that you may go less than asking.
Yep.
That's. I don't know how you got a price, but if you say you got a price on the high side of things out there, then you may go there. So that's kind of how to use the Snapstats to your advantage. When you're doing your listing presentations or you're working with a buyer, these are general rules. But when I'm talking to the new guys, and we're working on stuff like Atilia there. Hi, Atilia. Thanks for coming in.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, when for guys like you, when you're starting to put your stuff out there and you're sending information out to clients and you're providing with information, what I would do is provide them with these stats, but have a verbal summary of it, and go over what your synopsis is. Yeah, the market is changing. We're getting a lot of inventory on. Things are slowing a little bit, but we're still in a good market. If your prices price sharply, you're okay, and that kind of thing. To summarize that information might be the way to go. So, and I find that, and I think James, can attest to this, that I don't know how accurate those numbers are at 9%, rate. That would suggest to me that it's going to be a tough go out there, but I don't know that that's a fact. James, you got feet on the ground. You know it better than anybody else. You're better than these stats. But all most people can do is deal with the stats. So. And most people aren't going to hold you to the stats, but what you need to do, guys, is send them out there and then just have a summary of what's going on with the market. All you want to do out of that is precipitate a phone call. Hey, Atilia, what's going on, man? I got your email. What's happening in my area? That's all you want.
Sorry, I have a property under contract, actually in Fairview. So listed it it's a townhome on Alder, and listed it on June 10th, and the offer came in like June 30th. It was accepted July 3rd. So subject removal is July 15th. It was listed for 1.225, and the offer was 1.185. And I think we talked about that. I remember the buyer's unrepresented, and they wanted to unilaterally reduce the price by, the buyer. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
so anyways, they're just doing their diligence now, and I actually had to go to the property yesterday because the neighbor called me and said he thinks the hot water tank is leaking, and I went and checked, and it was. So the
Well, good for
owners,
that neighbor. How did the neighbor know that?
because there's a catch, the hot water tanks are on catch trays, and there's there's a drain, and the drain drains into a pipe in an underground garage. So he saw it dripping, and it happened to him 3 years ago. So he figured it was right next door. And so,
Wow, you're lucky to see that, eh? Wow.
yeah, no, it could, if I've had my other listing, for some reason the same thing, the tube that collects condensation for the hot water tank was actually somehow the elbow broke off. I don't know how. Probably because the glue deteriorated because it's 16 years old, and it actually dripped onto the concrete floor, and it flooded part of the basement. And so, I mean, it's always good to have plumbers on your speed dial.
Yeah. Well, I know that James does. It's his time's wrong. So,
But honestly,
sorry, what was your question, buddy? We kind of went off on a tangent there. What was your question? Did you not have a question?
I was curious as to the stats. Could you pop those stats up again? Because I'm curious as to where the market is active these days. Because I was looking at your stats.
Can you see my
Yeah.
This is condos and townhomes.
Yeah.
And this is breaking on the left-hand side here, it's going by price.
Yeah.
The right-hand side, it's going by area. And
Yeah.
at the bottom of the left-hand side, it's going by size.
Yeah.
So if I want to look what's going hot, of course, probably the lower price ones are going to be the hot ones over here. Look on the left-hand side, we're looking at, 35, the highest one is 36. That's $1 million to $1.25 million. Well, that's because it's affordable.
Yeah.
That's why there. If you look for the area over here on the right-hand side, I look down here, 32% is Fairview, seems to be hot. That's you, right?
Yeah.
So they had 109 listings, 35 sold. You're one of the 35 over here. It won't be sold until they remove subjects, but you're one of those guys. So you're in a hot area. If you go down here and look for the low one, the 6 here, and there's a good number here. There's 17 listed and only one sale. I would suggest that Southwest Marine is not a good area to go in, like to be listing it, right? You're going to have a difficult time. So you got your price over here. The over here, you're right. You said, what'd you sell it for?
1185.
So 1.1, so $1.1 million.
Yeah. Well,
you're right in the sweet spot. Look at this. Here's the price line here. There's 138 listed, 49 sold. That's 36. So you're in the sweet spot. You're in the right area. You're in the right price range. You've got everything going for you. That's kind of what these stats tell you, right? But we use these stats to present to our clients. But really, what they're doing is you want to send them out to your clients, but you want to precipitate that phone call. Hey, tell you what's my house doing? What's my area doing? What's going on? And then you have that conversation. That's all you're doing here. I wouldn't count on these to really come up with my price. James, did you use the stats to come up with your price, or did you kind of do the recent sales in the area?
I have to be honest, I don't reference these stats. I mean, I definitely do my comparative market analysis, but at the end of the day, a lot of it is dependent on the actual building quite often. A lot of them have a certain price point that you have to work with, or find identical comparables because my clients just will not reference these.
Yeah, no, and absolutely true. Yeah, and I don't expect them to. And
Yeah.
that's kind of what I'm saying is
This
these
pisses one of my guys off. He just will tell me, don't ever show me those stats. And I do focus on the actual the buildings or properties right around within the vicinity. And that's what we work with.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I mean, these are just kind of a generic shotgun kind of
Yeah.
thing to send out to
But
everybody.
it's good for me. It's good for me to sort of say, well, look, this is what's happening out there. So I reference it like for myself.
Yeah, if you ever need some backup on whatever presentation you're making, put them. And I tell you, just send those out as a general, but do your, you know, your disclaimer and your introduction, your summary of everything. Give me a call. That's what you want to ask for at the end of the day. Here's some stats out there. Give me a call if you have any questions about it. Exactly the way I presented these stats to you, and you wanted me to show them to you again. That's what you want to do with your clients. Can you show that? Where am I at? You know, because it's going to precipitate that interest. Now, whether or not you use these, you're going to have to do a full CMA, and your CMA is even going to be more detailed than this and more fine pointed than this. Like James said, it's going to be the building, it's going to be the exact comparable. The guy downstairs sold. Well, that's going to draw, you know, more weight than any of this stuff. This is just to kind of get out there and push some stuff out, put it on your website. You want to attract some attention. It's like the newspaper. Everybody, you know, reads the newspaper. We don't read everything in it. We just kind of pick up on what we want, you know, and that kind of thing. So that's what these stats are for. They're not, you know, detailed. They give you a general idea of what's happening. In this case, we got lucky with, you know, yours. It seemed to be exactly right, and you got the sale and all that. But it's not always like that.
So like I'm a little the last GVR report that came out, I don't know if they got it accurate or whether it was some other report I read. I was reading about the Toronto condo market imploding, but my understanding is 10 to 20% sales ratio is considered neutral. Is that correct?
You got to attend the whole meeting, buddy. We did all of that.
Sorry.
All right, so we're just going back over that. I'm not gonna. You can. If you
watch
go
the
on,
video.
if you go on to the real estate board website right now, let me see if I just got an email saying that the stats are out. So let me just see if I can find that one. I'm on Paragon now. Let me just refresh it because the last one, when I checked Paragon earlier today, it was okay, here we go. I've got it for you. So let me put this onto YouTube. I'm going to hold it for a
Greater
sec.
Vancouver home sales registered.
I'm going to share my screen. Where's my freaking Zoom here? There you go. So I'm going to share my screen again. So this will answer your question, but try and show up on time so we don't have to go over. But this just happened that this is the new one.
Okay.
So guys, for those of you who were here earlier, we did the May one. This is the June one. It just came out this morning.
On the MLS, below seasonal and historical averages in June, with inventory reaching levels not seen since the spring of 2019.
Can barely hear.
Let's take a closer look. Realtors registered 2,418 home sales in the MLS in June, a 19% decrease over this time last year. Even with the recent increase from the Bank of Canada, June's lower than normal sales volume suggests many buyers remain hesitant, while sellers have remained keen to list their home. Sellers listed about 5,700 homes on the MLS in June, a 7% increase compared to June 2023. The month ended with around 14,200 homes listed for sale across the region on the MLS, which is 20% above the seasonal average for the month. This trend of fewer sales and steady inventory increases is providing buyers more selection to choose from and driving all market segments toward balanced conditions. One tool we use to measure current market conditions is the sales to active listings ratio. This ratio measures the homes available for sale against the number of homes sold throughout the month to get an idea of supply and demand. Analysis of historical data suggests downward pressure on home prices occurs when this ratio dips below 12% for a sustained period. Home prices often experience upward pressure when it surpasses 20% over several months. June ended with this ratio at 18% for all homes. By property type, the ratio is 13% for detached homes, 21% for attached, and 20% for apartments. These conditions have kept a lid on upward pressure on prices. The MLS HPI benchmark price for all housing types in Metro Vancouver in June sits at $1,207,000. This is up less than 1% from this time last year. By property type, detached homes reached a benchmark price of $2,061,000. Townhomes reached $1,138,000, and apartments reached $773,000. For further housing market information, go to the Market Watch section of our website.
So does that answer your question, Attilia?
Yeah, no, that's awesome. It's nice to see. It's nice
Well,
to see.
that's what I want you guys to share with your clients. Send out that little video to your clients and ask them to call you. And that's what I'm talking about. Then you can dive deeper into them. But the thing is to get an appointment with them, to sit and talk with them, and then go with what James said and do a CMA and look at their actual comparables to that actual property. So that's up to you to do that. So all these stats are doing is, trying to give you something to send out and put on your website to precipitate that call. The whole idea here for us is we should be, looking for clients, prospecting day in and day out, 90% of our time. And this is just one of the things you can use to kind of send out there. Send the video out, put it on your website, send it on your, your social media marketing, that kind of thing. Just get that stuff out there to get that call. That's all it is. It's not an answer to your question, or not an answer to their exact price, but it hopefully precipitates the call that they're interested. They know that they want to find a price. They're going to call you. That's it, guys.